Hello, folks. Welcome to OTD, also known as On the Deck, where you can get all the sports you need in 10 minutes. My name is Adam Orduna. This is my mom, Gina.
He is a journalist.
He's the enthusiast.
I am super enthusiastic today because we get to talk about the National Drama Association.
Right. That is our main topic today, the NBA, also known as the NDA. In our show, the NDA is the NBA.
Well, you know what else it is, though? It's Throwback Thursday. And This is not Throwback. This is my current home, Blue Valley Northwest. But I got a little reveal under here.
Okay, what you got going on?
I got under here.
Oh, what is that? Is
Tigers.
that F-Town?
That is, okay, let me be clear. This is not Blue Valley High School Tigers.
Right.
This is Fremont, USA
F-Town,
Tigers.
402, representing, yes.
On the back of this says AO31, that's you.
That's
so
right.
I got this.
Bringing it back for Throwback Thursday.
There we go.
It's a beautiful day out here. It's in mid-60s.
Gorgeous.
We are in late March, which is great because my birthday is on the horizon. Right here. Yes.
Birthday's next Friday.
Yes.
Your dad's birthday was last night.
Right, absolutely. And so it is gorgeous.
My girl's
today.
birthdays. There's a lot of March birthdays.
There's a lot of spring birthdays. You know, on Facebook, you get all the birthday alerts. It's almost too many birthdays. You can't
every day in March.
Every day, yeah. You say happy birthday almost every day. You can't keep up. It's just crazy.
Well, pretty much every day is someone's birthday, but I just feel like in March, it's a lot of people's
birthdays. That's a good point. That's right. Well, we're talking about the NBA today. So happy birthday to all those folks out there that have birthdays today. But we are talking about some teams that may be able to challenge LeBron James and company in the East, and maybe if LeBron was in the West, which teams that he might be able to have some good series with as well.
Have a little debate today.
Yeah, and we're going to do a little bit NBA debate talk, and it's going to be kind of centered around LeBron and the Cavs, as last night was really the main matchup, which will probably be the Eastern Conference Finals, the Toronto Raptors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's really been that way for the last couple years.
Well, if they're both on the top half of the draw, will they play each other?
They won't, but
at some point,
there's going to be some back and forth between those two. But essentially, the point is that they are the best teams, essentially, in the West, as we call it, the weak East, but just the East. And so they played last night, and it was a reminder that even with LeBron James and the Cavs being in the third or fourth spot or whatever they're at, they're still the best team in the East. And as good as Toronto is, they're still not good enough to beat LeBron James. And you hear LeBron say it the last couple weeks, they're not even full staff. They still have guys coming off the bench. Kevin Love just came back. Tyronn Lue, the head coach, is not even coaching right now. So they're not even at a full roster right now, and they're still beating teams like Toronto. What are your thoughts kind of on how that's going on right now?
Well, I think instead of calling LeBron and the Cavaliers, I'm going to call them the Labrineers.
That's a good way to put it.
Labrineers.
I like that, the Labrineers.
Basically, we're letting everybody know in the West, I can beat you with one hand tied behind my back.
Right.
I mean, that is exactly what LeBron was saying last night.
That's true.
You know, one hand on you. I don't even need both fists. I can beat you, which is interesting. I'm going to get on to what you just asked me, but half the time you hear LeBron, I don't have no help. I don't have a superstar. We're top heavy. And then the after time, he's like, I can beat you with one hand behind my back. Which one is it, LeBron? The fact of the matter is you're going to lose some regular season games. You're going to play terrible in January. You're going to play terrible half of February. You'll have an up and down March. And you get to April, turn it on, and you're going to win. And you're going to beat the weak East with one hand tied behind your back. That's the truth.
that is the truth.
There you go.
Yep.
What was your question?
Well, I mean, that's really, the question was answered. I mean, there really wasn't much there. It's just, the East is exactly what it is. Right now, in this time frame of the NBA, the East just doesn't have a lot of strong teams. No. There are some superstars on some of the teams in the East. Kyrie Irving, D-Wade's back in Miami. But realistically, John Wall, with Washington, Bradley Beal, DeMar DeRozan. There are players on some of these teams, yes. But for the most part, overall teams, like over in the West, where you do have full teams, rosters from 15 down to 1 are all altogether different. And so let's talk about that a little bit, though.
Okay.
The East right now we know is not good. So LeBron has the one hand tied behind his back and walking through. But let's talk about the West a little bit, as the West really, that's where the championships have been coming from. When you talk about Golden State, challenging teams like the Thunder, Houston is now the #1 seed. What do you think about some of those other teams? I mentioned the Thunder. What about some of those other teams? You take away Golden State and Houston. What about some of those other teams that are in the mix there?
Well, thank you, because in the playoff hunt right now at the #3 spot, you've got the Portland Trail Blazers, who are just nasty.
Yep, outside
just flat
snipers.
Out nasty. Then you got the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have a really good big three, who I think go. I mean, it depends on your market. You don't hear about them all the time. But obviously, you have Russell Westbrook, but you have Paul George, and then you have
Carmelo Anthony. Yep.
But then you also have the Spurs, and the Spurs, you know, which I don't know if we'll even have time to talk about, but they're without Kawhi Leonard, and that's kind of creating this whole can they, can't they. Let's be clear, Popovich can.
Yes.
The Spurs can. They went up there and snatched James Harden's life last week. Ginobili's up there balding in the back, looking like your 57-year-old uncle, and just snatched James Harden's life in the playoffs. So even you take the Rockets and the Warriors out, you still got the the Portland Trail Blazers, OKC Thunder, and the San Antonio Spurs. There are teams in the West that I think could compete with the Labrineers.
I agree.
I really do.
I totally
Outside of just the Rockets and the Warriors.
Right.
Now, people are like, oh, are they going to, nobody can get them. No, that's not true. You're talking about 4 out of 7 games. Can the Spurs get the Cavs? Yeah, Popovich has LeBron's number.
I totally agree. Even without Kawhi Leonard, they still are able to beat LeBron James.
Yes. The Portland Trail Blazers, I think 4 out of 7, it would probably go to a Game 7, but I think the Blazers could get them.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's realistic. And could the Thunder? Yes. I think it might even go to 6 games, you know, but it's going to be a battle.
A real challenge.
A challenge. But compared to who's in the East, let me just run it down real for you. You got the Raptors, the Celtics, the Cavs, the 76ers, your top 4. Then you got Pacers, Wizards, Heat, and the Bucks. Like, come on.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I mean, and so you go through that bottom half. The Pacers are inconsistent. Miami is, you know, who they are. On some night we love the Heat, but we know they're not going to be able to challenge.
Don't bet your win on it.
Milwaukee Bucks, they're up and down. They've got the Greek freak, you know, Giannis Antetokounmpo, but beyond that, they don't really have much there.
And did you say the Wizards?
I haven't even mentioned the Wizards, and which is a shame. And, you know, you hear Stephen A. Smith every single season he gets on Bradley Beal and John Wall, because those two guys with the Morris twin and a couple other guys on that team, they should be able to go in there and hang with the Cavs, even win. I think they could. We
picked them last year, and we learned our lesson from doing that.
That is a team that can challenge LeBron and the Cleveland Cavaliers, but they just don't show up. They never do, and it's too bad.
And the Raptors don't either.
Correct.
Last year, LeBron was practically like he's in there sunning the guy. Hey, watch your feet out.
Yeah. Don't be out there.
Exactly. Competition. Watch out for the turnover.
Unless you feel bad for him because you know
pat him on the head.
A little cousin. Hey,
love,
bro. Exactly.
I mean, come on, it's an absolute joke. And Kyrie is the truth, but he's at the Celtics and they're injury laden. The Cavs are going to walk through, cakewalk, sleepwalk, one hand on you, walk through the East. But if they got against the West, I think both the Warriors can take them until they prove otherwise. The Warriors can take them. I think the Rockets could get them. Spurs, Thunder, and Trailblazers, to me, could all give it a go and or beat them.
And then there are some other teams like Minnesota who will be able to, they're still young and scrappy. They'll be able to give you something. We know Anthony Davis, the unibrow down there in New Orleans, he'll give you everything he's got. And if Boogie Cousins comes back, that's a whole different series there. And then the Utah Jazz is always a tough team to beat, because Utah and Salt Lake, that's a tough place to play. So,
you know, and that's the thing. I think home court is the only thing. I'm not a real believer in the Jazz, but I think that
no, not at all. You know, but when you're talking about home court and going to Salt Lake, it is tough to play. You heard Barnes last year from the Warriors talking about he didn't want to play in Utah because there's nothing to do. There's no nightlife. And so that tells you, like,
Barnes needs to sit down.
And he is finally sat down, finally got his ring and retired. But that's the point. So all of those teams in the West will give Cleveland problems. There's no team in the East that can challenge LeBron. The Labrineers, I think that's hilarious. So anyway, that is just something that we wanted to think about as the playoffs are nearing, and every game right now was very important.
Really March Madness right now, but then it becomes April Fools and go right into the NBA Fools right after this, and we'll be talking about this some more.
Exactly. Anything else that you'd like to bring up as far as the Warriors or the Rockets, as far as those two teams really getting themselves together?
Well, I think the Warriors have had the best thing that could happen to the Warriors this year was the Rockets, because everybody is laser focused on what James Harden's doing. Fear the beard. Oh, the best MVP. I'm happy he's going to get the MVP. Should have gotten a couple of years ago. I'm happy for him. But that has taken the heat off the Warriors, and they've
Correct.
just silently sat back, rested their players. Oh, this one's hurt, that one's hurt.
Right.
Oh, we're taking the night off. By the way, still winning with stars on the bench.
Right.
And the Warriors just like, hey, take that heat, because we're going to come out of the number 2 spot and chop them up. But I think right now, the way it stands, they're going to get the Timberwolves in the first round.
Right. Well, and either way, again, all that Houston Rockets talk is great for the Houston fans, but we know when push comes to shove, it's going to be the Warriors.
Come on.
And it'll be the Cavs. And so
nobody's getting the Warriors in 4 games, 4 out of 7.
Exactly.
It's not happening.
Well, like you just said, it is March Madness, and we're getting ready to do a Sweet 16
Yeah, we
episode.
are.
So stay tuned for that. We want to say we appreciate your time, folks. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again. Thanks for watching.